Hello, welcome to this week's sequence. My name's Sophie, for those of you who I don't know. This week's sequence is all about the core, so I'm going to kind of talk you through it as we go along. I'm going to start you in child's pose, so just take your comfortable child's pose. So maybe knees wide, maybe arms reaching out in front. If you prefer to, you can always soften your arms down by your legs. And then just start to take some big, deep breaths. So in today's sequence, when I talk about the core, I'm going to talk about the importance of drawing the ribs in so that we activate our deep core muscles, our TVA, our transverse abdominis. And I'm also going to talk about the importance of taking out unnecessary movements so that we use control and we use stability and we use our core. Okay, take one more big breath in through the nose and clear it out through the mouth. Okay, start to come up onto all fours. So hands underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. And just start to move through your cat-cows. So inhale to open through the chest and exhale through to press through the hands and round the spine. Keep moving like this. So inhale, drop the tummy, open the chest, and exhale, press, spread the shoulders apart from one another as you round. Good, just keep moving like this. Make sure your fingers are spread nice and wide. It's a good connection all the way through the hands, the fingers, the knuckles. And make sure it is the breath that's leading the movement. Okay, from here, what I want you to do is come into your cat part of the stretch. So you're rounding through your spine, shoulder blades pulling apart. Now imagine you've got a towel in between your arm and your armpit, and you're squeezing against that towel. It's like the upper arms want to pull towards one another as the shoulder blades keep spreading away from one another. Okay, with this connection, so really strong connection through the hands and the arms, you're just simply going to step the right foot behind you. Okay, keeping the hips and the shoulders as they are. Step the left foot behind. Now you're in a plank pose. Okay, in your plank pose, I want you to think about collarbones almost pressing forwards. So still round through the upper back, but there's a sense of pressing the collarbones towards the front of the mat. Okay, big breath in. And then exhale, lower knees, and then chest, lots of control. Okay, we take an inhale to a baby cobra. Take a moment to pause, pull the shoulder blades down the back, squeeze the shoulder blades together, and then think about activating through the backs of the feet. So the legs are active, tummy's lifted, big breath in. And then as you exhale, let's press back to a downward facing dog. So first downward facing dog. Feel free to kind of walk out your dog, create any movement that feels good through the back of the legs, maybe swaying the hips, maybe giving your head a bit of a nod, a bit of a shake. And continue to deepen through your breath. Okay, from here, take an inhale, sweep the right leg up and back behind you. And then what I want you to do is bend the knee and open out the hip. Squeeze the heel close to the bum. So don't have the heel high to the sky. Actually squeeze it into the bum. Then think inner knee, inner thigh, moving towards the sky. That should strengthen this pose for you. Okay, big breath in. And then as you exhale, step the right foot all the way in between the hands and then lower the back knee. Okay, inhale, low lunge. So arms reach up. This is the first time I want to talk to you about the ribs. So as soon as we lift the arms up, our ribs are going to want to flare out of the body. Pull the ribs back into the body. Use your tummy. So now we're starting to work the deep core muscles. And then think about using the feet to lift the chest up rather than the ribs just flaring out. Squeeze through the feet, and then you should lift up and away from your pelvis. Okay, big breath in. And then as you exhale, bring both hands down to the mat and pause. So here, shoulders are over the wrists. You're pressing the mat away, so you're creating that strength through the upper back and the shoulders. Then you're going to tap the back toes and lift the back knee. You're in a plank pose apart from your right leg. So what we want to do is simply move the right leg without moving the body. So try not to swing back and forth. That's what we tend to do. and it takes control and away from this. It means that we don't use the core as much. So press the mat away and start to move that right leg back. Just the right leg moves. Big breath in. Exhale, lower knees and chest. Inhale to a baby cobra, lift through the chest. And then exhale, move it back to your downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg sweeps high. Exhale, bend the knee, open out the hip. Again, flex the foot. Draw the heel close to the bum and then think inner knee, inner thigh rotating to the sky. Big breath in. And then as you exhale, big step through with the left foot, lower the right knee. Inhale, low lunge again. So reach the arms up. Again, I want you to think about the ribs. Pull the ribs back into the body. Lift through the chest, but at the same time, ribs keep softening down. Drive through the feet. So energetically, it's like we're rooting to rise back up. Okay, one more inhale. And then exhale, bring both hands down to the mat. Once again, pause. So take a moment, shoulders over the wrists. We can lift the back knee. Keep the shoulders directly over the wrist. Try not to swing back and forth as you do this. And just simply step the left foot back. This time, knees and chest or chaturanga, your choice. Inhale to your cobra or your up dog. And then exhale, move back to a downward facing dog. Okay, from here, just slowly walking the feet to the hands at the front of the mat. Come into your ragdoll. So feet hip width distance. Take hold of opposite elbow and just sway the body from side to side. Have a little bend in your knees. Really good for your first few forwards folds, just to kind of release through the back of the legs and the lower back. Interlace the fingers behind the lower back. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. Draw the arms up and over the head. Release the hands down to the mat. And then heel toe the feet together. From here, we're going to inhale, root to rise. And I want you to pause as we get to the top. So as we're at the top, often what we do is just let these ribs come out and we kind of bend and dump into the lower back. Let's create a little bit more strength. So draw the ribs back into the body. Now try and lift through the chest rather than just dumping into the lower back. Should feel a lot stronger to the middle and the upper back. Squeeze through the legs, keep softening the ribs back into the body. Take one more inhale. And then exhale, fold all the way down, tuck the chin, back of the neck long. Inhale, lengthen through a flat back, so pull the shoulders back. And then as you exhale, you're going to plant the hands, bring some weight forwards into the hands so that the strength comes through the upper back, the shoulders, and then engage the tummy as you step right foot back to plank, left foot back to plank, the shoulders do not move. Exhale to lower, your choice, knees and chest or chaturanga. Inhale's your cobra or your up dog, take your time. And then as you exhale, move it back to a downward facing dog. Big breaths here. So I want you to notice how in your downward facing dog, we often get the cue, lift your hips. So sitting bones spread wide, so there's a sense of lifting up through the pelvis. As you do that, notice your ribs want to flare. Pull your ribs back into the body. See if you can engage through those deep core muscles. On your next exhale, bend the knees, look forwards. Let's step the right foot first, then the left. Take an inhale to lengthen through a flat back, shoulders back. And then an exhale to soften and fold. Okay, inhale, sweep to stand. Same thing, ribs are in, but the chest is reaching tall, tall, tall. And then exhale, fold all the way down, release through the back of the neck, hands flat, so bend the knees if you need. Inhale, lengthen through your flat back. You can always bring hands to shins there. As you exhale, plant the hands. Just think about this as you step back. Keep the weight forward, so shoulders over wrists, left foot back, then the right foot. Keep the tummy engaged, lower down, your choice. Knees and chest or chaturanga. You can keep changing it up if you like. Inhale to lift through the chest and exhale through to your downward facing dog. Big breaths. Okay, so as well as pulling the ribs back into the body, I want you to think about as spreading through the shoulders. So it's like your outer upper arms are wrapping in as the shoulder blades pull away from one another. On your next exhale, bend the knees, look forward. You're going to step the left foot first, then the right. Take an inhale, lengthen flat back. and an exhale to fold. This time, inhale, chair pose. If you want to carry on doing a few more sun A's, then just pause and continue through your sun A's. Otherwise, we come to a chair pose. This is a kind of classic time where we dump into the lower back, or we kind of think duck butt, so the butt is sticking out, and the ribs just flare. So allow your ribs to pull back into the body. As you do that, you should naturally lengthen through the tailbone and think about hip bones pulling up towards the ribs. Good. Keep the chest lifted though. Squeeze the bum. One more big breath in. And then exhale, fold and release, tucking the chin. Okay, inhale, lengthen through a flat back. Pull the shoulders back. Exhale, plant the hands. You can step or float back this time. If you're stepping back, keep alternating the feet. And then lower down, your choice. Knees and chest or chaturanga. Inhale, lift through the heart, cobra or up dog. And exhale takes you back to a downward facing dog. From here, inhale, sweep the right leg up and back with control. So squeeze the back of the leg. Exhale, step the right foot in between the hands. Spin the back heel down to the mat. Inhale, warrior one. Reach tall. Again, 5 breaths here. So I want you to just take a moment. Notice how, again, we tend to flare through the ribs because warrior one is a bit of a back bend. So try and draw the ribs back into the body, even if that means you have to back away from the bend in the front knee a little bit. Just kind of offering up different variations today. Big breath in. As you exhale, bring both hands down to the mat. Again, think about how you step back. Try not to move back and forth. Just simply step the right foot back. Lower down, your choice. Inhale to your back bend. And exhale to your downward facing dog. From here, inhale, left leg sweeps to the sky with control. Big step through on your exhale, spin the back heel. Inhale to a warrior one. Check your ribs. So draw the ribs back into the body. Reaching up through the chest. Switch the legs, the feet on. Okay, take one more inhale. And then as you exhale, bring both hands down to the mat. Step it back with control. Try not to tilt back and forth. Shoulders stay over the wrists. Either move through a flow or just go straight to a downward facing dog. So totally up to you. You can skip out your vinyasas as and when you like. Big full breaths. Try and breathe chest, ribs, and deep into the tummy. On your next exhale, bend the knees, look forwards. Step or float lightly to the front. We take an inhale, lengthen through a flat back. And an exhale to fold. Okay, inhale, sweep to stand. Come all the way up, ribs are in. And exhale, hands to heart center. Okay, chair pose again. Bend the knees, lift through the chest, squeeze the bum. Exhale to fold and release, tucking the chin. Inhale to lengthen through your flat back, pull the shoulders back. And then as you exhale, plant the hands, step or float, lowering down, or just move straight to a downward facing dog. As you move through a vinyasa, you just reset the focus, reset the breath. Once you're there, inhale, right leg moves to the sky. And then exhale, step through, big step, spin the back heel. Inhale, warrior one, just one breath this time. And then exhale, bring both hands down to the mat. You're going to step it back. Take your time, either a vinyasa or straight to your downward facing dog. Big breaths. Once you're there, inhale, left leg to the sky, sweep it tall. Big step through on your exhale, spin the back heel. Warrior one to lift. And then exhale, bring both hands down to the mat. Take your time, shoulders solid over the wrists to move through your vinyasa or go straight through to a downward facing dog. Big breath here. Try to reach out through the hands. So it's like the hands press down to the mat. So energetically we can lift up through the forearms. We can reach out through the armpits. And then we can lift all the way up through the sitting bones. On your next exhale, let's bend the knees, look forwards. Either step or float lightly to the front. Take your time, your choice. Inhale, lengthen. And exhale, fold. Last one here. Inhale, chair pose. Bend the knees, lift the chest. And exhale, fold and release, tucking the chin, back of the neck long. Inhale, lengthen to a flat back. And then exhale, plant the hands, step or float, vinyasa or straight to your down dog. So just be mindful to go where your body wants to go to today. No pushing. Breathing deeply when you're there. Inhale, right leg to the sky. And then exhale, big step through, spin the back heel, take an inhale, warrior one. This time, let's exhale, open wide to a warrior two, shift the feet. And then inhale, reverse your warrior, look up to the sky. Exhale, bring both hands down to the mat. Again, step it back, vinyasa or straight to your down dog. Big breath into your back bend if you're there. Big breath out to your downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg sweeps high. Exhale, big step through, spin the back heel, take an inhale, lift, warrior one. Exhale, open wide to your warrior two. And then inhale, reverse, big breath in. And exhale, bring both hands down to the mat. Vinyasa or straight to your down dog. In your downward facing dog, you've got the choice. You can stay here. You can take a child's pose. Or you can take a handstand practice. So those of you who are kind of coming into working towards a handstand practice, just bring your feet in about halfway. So you have a shorter downward facing dog. Then shift your shoulders over your wrists. Really kind of use your fingers and your knuckles against the mat. Almost like you're pulling the mat back towards you. Then what I want you to do is lift the right leg to the sky. Keep the shoulders forwards, a little bit further forwards of the wrists. And then lift the left heel high to the sky. Good, so you're bringing some weight into those hands. Now draw the shoulders towards the cheeks, press the mat away. Good, once you've done that, just swap it over. So right leg down, left leg to the sky, shoulders over wrists, and then press the mat away as you lift through the right heel. Bring some weight into the hands. And then release. Wherever you went to, we meet in a ragdoll. Big breaths. Swaying the body from side to side. Release through the back of the neck. And we'll meet in a chair pose. So feet together, toes touch, inhale, bend the knees, lift the chest. Holding here once again, just check on the ribs, draw the ribs back into the body, sink your hips nice and low and squeeze the bum. On your next exhale, let's move hands to heart center, twist to the right. So left elbow wraps around that right thigh. You've got a couple of variations here. So you can lift the left elbow off the right knee and it becomes a more active twist. Really hard to do that. Some of you might open arms, some of you might come to a side crow practice. If you're staying with a twist, just have a little look at your knees. Make sure they're in line. Some of you might need to pull that left knee back in space. Meeting in a chair pose, just when you're ready, big breath in. And then as you exhale, hands to heart center, let's twist over to the left-hand side, right elbow wraps around. Same variation, so some of you might lift the elbow off the thigh, but keep the twist. Some of you might open arms or come into a side crow practice, your choice. Big breaths. We're going to meet in a chair pose, big breath in. And then exhale, fold and release, tap the chin. Crow pose. Those of you who don't want to come to a crow pose, take a seated squat. So bending the knees, keep the chest lifted here. Those of you who are taking your crow, you can start to create the shape without even lifting the legs. So don't feel like you have to come into like the full advanced variation straight away. You could just start to create a shape with the hands down and the knees, outer upper arms. This might be where you are and you start to shift the weight back and forth. Think hips high though, rather than just coming forwards, because you want the hips to lift, so energetically we pull up. So this just might be where you are for a little bit, bringing some weight into the hands. Whichever variation you want to take, just work through your variations, and then we'll meet in a downward facing dog. So however you want to get there is fine. Some of you might move through a flow, some of you will just simply step it back. Okay, just refuel the body with the breath. And then on your next inhale, sweep the right leg to the sky. And then as you exhale, we're going to go knee to nose. So shift the weight forwards, round the upper back, pull the thigh closer towards the chest. Okay, now lower the right knee onto the mat. Now lift, so shoulders are over the hips. Arms come out just to kind of create a sense of balance. Balance, a lot of it is about the core. So pull the tummy in, pull the ribs in. Now, left leg, left knee is going to draw up towards the chest. Don't worry if you wobble a lot here. Flex the foot. Now kick the left leg out in front. Heel away. Good. Then from here, draw the knee back in. We go back the way we came. Left leg back behind. Good. Toes touch down. Hands come down. and draw the right knee towards the nose again. Inhale, sweep that right leg up and back behind. Exhale, knee goes over to the right upper arm. Get the hips high, try not to sink down here. Lift, lift, lift. Inhale, up and back. Okay, as you exhale, go knee to nose again. Now what I want you to do is, without dropping the right hip, move the knee over to the left upper arm. It might not get close, so you're actually having to use inner thigh without kind of dropping the hip and going close. So keep the right hip lifted, inner thigh, knee over towards the left upper arm. Good. Inhale, sweep the leg up and back. And then as you exhale, step through, keep the back heel lifted, and take an inhale to a high lunge. So reach the arms tall. Again, this is a typical time where we tend to flare the ribs and we just let the lower back collapse. So I want you to draw the ribs up and in, pull up through those hips so hip bones move up towards the ribs. If you need to, just bend the back knee a little bit. Okay, reach the arms tall. Big breath in. And then as you exhale, hands to heart center, we're going to twist to the right. Left elbow wraps around the right thigh. Don't worry if you wobble like me. Your choice, staying here with the twist, lifting the left elbow off the right thigh. Maybe you open arms. Maybe you come into a bind or a side crow practice. Wherever you go to, breathe. Lift back up, inhale, high lunge. Use your tummy, draw the ribs in. Now as you exhale, let's move hands to heart center. We're going to come into a warrior three. Try to resist this temptation to kind of kick up. Bring all the weight forwards and lift the left leg slowly. Flex the back heel, kick the heel away. Now keep the chest proud, think collarbones wide, almost as if you're creating a cobra with the chest, and then draw the ribs back in towards the tummy, towards the spine. Good. Okay, from here, I'm going to come into a little kind of skater's lunge, a bent kneed kind of skater's lunge. So left foot moves over to the right hand side. So here, just to show you, the left knee tucks in behind the right knee, and the foot just moves over to the right hand side. Bend the knees as much as you can and pull the right hip back in space. Okay, so from here, from our little skater's lunge, what I want us to do on our inhale, you're going to open out to a half moon. So some of you might bring the fingertips down to the mat or to the block. Some of you might hover the right fingertips. Kick the back leg high. On your exhale, come back to that little skater's lunge. So the left foot goes over to the right hand side. Now, some of you, if you want to advance this, lift that left foot off the mat, flex the foot, and just go lower. Inhale, open up, come back to that half moon. Some of you might hover the right fingertips off. Lift, 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 open the chest. And then as you exhale, we come back to that little skater's lunge. You might be burning through the right hip. Some of you will bring toes down, some of you will hover the foot off. Inhale, open up again. Some of you might think about hovering the fingertips. Don't worry if you're wobbly like me. Good, last time we come back to this. So tuck left knee in behind the right, come to that little skater's lunge. Good, now come up to stand, left knee in towards the chest. Flex the left foot. Some of you will take right hand to right hip, left hand to knee. Some of you will take two peace fingers to the big toe and extend the leg out in front. Up to you. Okay, keep the chest lifted and breathe. Breathe as deeply as you can. Try not to lean back. And then think about here, ribs in as you come towards your twist. Right hand to left outer knee, or you can take outer left foot. You're going to reach the left arm towards the back of the room. Last thing that changes is the gaze. Keep the chest lifted, use your arms as levers. Good, okay, from here, come back to center. We're going to come back through a warrior three. If you're wobbly and you need to shake that right leg out, then do. Kick the left leg back, any arm variations you like. Again, chest forwards, but ribs in. Keep kicking the heel away, squeeze through the bum. And then big step back to your high lunge, reaching the arms tall, big breath in. And then as you exhale, let's open wide to a warrior two. So just shift the feet here. So you have a nice wide stance, and the front thigh works parallel, almost parallel to the mat. Now we're just going to play with the shoulders and the spine. So What I want you to do is bring the arms behind you. Actually let the ribs completely flat. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. So it's like the chest is moving forwards to the left-hand side of the mat. Then go the other way. Round through the spine, arms forwards, tuck the chin, draw the ribs in. Now come to a place in the middle. So you want chest proud, arms reaching out to the sides, but ribs pulling in. On your inhale, reverse your warrior, look up to the sky. Good, breathe. Some of you might take this left hand behind you and find your right inner thigh. Totally up to you. Keep the bend in the front knee, one more inhale. And then as you exhale, let's go side angle pose. So it's going to be your choice for side angle. You can go forearm to thigh as I'm doing. You can go hand to the inside or the outside of the foot. Some of you might want to bind. If you go forearm to thigh, really draw the right shoulder back in space. Lots of you will just kind of be here, hanging out with your shoulder towards the ear. Pull it back in space, like you're pressing your forearm to your thigh. Okay, from here we're going to flow. So everyone bring forearm to thigh, whichever variation you took. Inhale, reverse your warrior, look up to the sky. And exhale, side angle pose again. So reaching left arm forwards. Inhale, open, right hand side of the body. And exhale, side angle. Good, this time inhale, reverse, reach the arms tall. And then as you exhale, spin both hands down to the mat, lift the back heel. Okay, here, left hand's gonna stay down, right arm's gonna reach the sky. So you're in a nice open twist. Just watch this left shoulder. Again, don't let it kind of come towards the ear, pull it back in space. And then think, inner elbow rotating towards the front of the room. Good, reaching tall through that top hand. We're gonna make our way to our side plank. So I don't want you just to kind of fling the leg back. Think about moving slowly. So spin onto the outer edge of the back foot. Some of you might take the right foot in the right hand. Some of you are just gonna take your time, right foot on top of the left foot. Flex the feet, keep the hips lifted, left shoulder down the back. You can take your variations here. If you have the legs together, squeeze the inner thighs, draw up through the ribs, and we'll meet in a plank pose. Take your time. Once you're in your plank pose, forearms down to the mat. Again, try not to collapse, move super slowly. In your forearm plank, some of you might need to just wiggle your feet further away. Round through the upper back, think collarbones wide, chest forwards. If you want to, you take a child's pose. Otherwise, walk the toes in towards the elbows. Some of you are going to play with your pincher. Some of you are going to focus on your dolphin. Okay, in your dolphin pose, just make sure you're pressing the mat away. Elbows don't want to be too wide. They want to be underneath the shoulders. If that's tough, bring the hands closer. It makes such a big difference. Some of you might even go palms together or interlace the fingers. For a lot of us, that will be kinder on our shoulders for our dolphin. Some of you might be floating into your pincher. You might be there already. Maybe you take a couple more breaths, but we're going to meet in a child's pose when you're ready. So knees wide, big toes to touch. Take a moment to breathe. Maybe soften the arms down by the legs. And then when you're ready, we're going to meet in a downward facing dog, lifting the hips up and back. Inhale, left leg up and back. Exhale, knee to nose. Round the upper back, pull the thigh bone in. Drop that left shin bone down to the mat. Bring your hands up, lift the chest, shoulders over hips. Start to lift that right foot off. Draw the knee in towards your chest, flex the foot. Kick the heel out in front. Don't worry if this is super wobbly. Draw the knee back in. Kick the foot behind you with control. Place the toes down. Hands down to the mat. Draw the left thigh in towards you, knee to nose. Inhale, sweep up and back. Exhale, left knee to left upper arm. Get it in nice and tight. Inhale, up and back. Okay, exhale, knee to nose. This bit's a little bit more complicated. So I don't want you to drop the left hip. Keep the left hip lifted and just move the knee using the inner thigh over to the right upper arm. Do your best. Okay, inhale, sweep it high. And then exhale, step through. Back heel lifted. Inhale, high lunge. Okay, as you exhale, hands move to heart center. We're going to twist over to the left-hand side. So right elbow wraps around that left thigh, and you come into your twist. Remember, you can take any variation here. So you can lift the elbow off, you can open arms, you can come into a bind or a side crow practice. Up to you. Chest is lifted. Okay, take your time. Inhale, high lunge. Just remember, ribs are pulling in. You can always bend the back knee a little bit. And then we bring hands to heart center and we lean all our weight forwards, trying to lift up without that big kick. So move slowly. Lift the right leg up, chest forwards, back heel kicks away. Okay, we're coming into that little skater squat. So right knee tucks in behind the left knee. The foot moves over to the left-hand side. Just drop the toes down and bend the knees as much as you can. From here, inhale, open up to that half moon. So some of you left fingertips down, some of you will hover the left fingers. Good, right onto the sky when you can. And then on your exhale, come back to that little skater squat, skater lunge. This time, maybe you flex the foot and you keep the foot lifted and you go low like you're hovering the shin off the mat. Inhale, open, come back to that half moon. Don't worry if you're wobbly. And then as you exhale, come back to that little skater squat. Some of you will keep the toes down. Good. Inhale, open. This is the last time we open to that half moon. Right fingertips to the sky. Kick the back heel high. Good. As you exhale, come into that little skater squat again. Nice and low. This time, come to stand. Right knee in towards the chest. Flex the right foot. Good. Okay, from here, left hand to left hip, right hand to the knee. Or you take your right two-piece fingers to the big toe and you extend the leg, kicking the foot out. Good. From here, we're going to find the twist. Left hand to right knee, outer right knee, or outer right foot, right arm reaching behind you. Lift through the chest. Last thing to change will be the gaze. So some of you will move your gaze towards the back hand. Come through center and take your warrior three. If you need to take a moment and shake out your legs, that's fine. Have a little smile to yourself and then come back to your warrior three. So we think chest forwards, but ribs pulling in. Big breaths, firm up through the left leg as you make your way to a high lunge. So step it back, reach the arms tall, big breath in. And then as you exhale, open wide to your warrior two. Okay, so remember, warrior two, we're just going to play with the spine and the shoulders. So draw the shoulders back, let the ribs flare, let your ribs pop out to the right-hand side of the mat. Then go the other way, so arms forward, round through the spine, draw the ribs in, tuck the chin. Then you're going to come to somewhere kind of in between. So ribs are in, but press through those fingers. Okay, from here, inhale, reverse your warrior, look up to the sky, really big stretch through the left-hand side of the body. If you want to, you take a little half bind with this right hand. One more breath in. And then as you exhale, side angle pose. So you can go left forearm to left thigh, right arm sweeps forwards, or you can take hand to the inside of the foot, or you can take your bind. So there's lots of things you can do here. Just watch, if you have the left forearm to left thigh like I am, watch that you don't just collapse the shoulder. Pull the shoulder down the back. Then we're going to flow with this. So wherever you are, just bring your forearm to your thigh. Take that variation. Inhale, reverse your warrior. Look up to the sky. And then as you exhale, forearm to thigh. And again, inhale, reverse your warrior. Look up. Exhale, forearm to thigh. Shoulder back. This time, inhale, reverse. Reach tall. And then as you exhale, bring both hands down to the mat. Lift the back heel here. Okay, right hand staying down, left arm reaches to the sky. Remember that right shoulder needs to pull down the back. Energize through the top hand, big breaths. Okay, just think about how you're going to transition here. So spin onto the outer edge of the back foot. We're coming into side plank. Step the left foot back with control if you can. Lift through the hips. Now draw the ribs in, lengthen through the tailbone, lift the hips a little higher. Good, plank pose. Take your time. Try not to just collapse into this. Forearm plank, forearms down to the mat. Good, here, spread through the shoulders. Really press the mat away, and then think collarbones forwards. Belly's engaged, ribs are in. And then some of you might think about taking a dolphin or a pincher second time round. Some of you might want to come into a puppy dog pose. So hips above the knees, chest moves forwards and down. And just take a moment to breathe. Okay, from here, we're going to meet back in a downward facing dog. And then inhale, sweep the right leg up and back behind. Exhale, step the right foot to the outside of the right hand. You're going to lower the left knee. Here, spin onto the outer edge of the right foot. Let the knee drop out to the side. Try not to be back here. Try and be forwards and down. Then with the hands, we're going to reach over to the left-hand side of the mat. So some of you might just want to come to forearms and be here. Some of you might reach all the way over and soften the chest further towards the mat. Keep the right knee pressing out to the right-hand side. If you want to, you can tuck the back toes if you feel like you're slipping a little bit. Good, coming back to center. We're going to come into a full or half split. So if you're coming into half split, just shift the weight back, flex the right foot, keep the spine long, and you can keep the back toes tucked. Some of you, if you're coming into full splits, just move that left leg back as well. Breathe. Okay, making our way into our pigeon pose. Come forwards. Foot over to the left, knee over to the right. Walk the left leg further back, come onto your forearms. Some of you might reach your arms all the way out in front and soften the head down to the mat. Some of you might use blocks, but see if you can be still for the next 3 big deep breaths. Coming into a little variation of your pigeon pose. We're going to lift the back foot. I want you to take the right hand to the back foot. So we come into a little bit of a twist and a quad stretch. If you need to, pop a block underneath this left hand. That's always a good idea if you need a little bit more length. Now think chest lifting up, look over the right shoulder, and you should get a really good twist through the middle of the body. Keep the left hip lifted. Try not to just drop it down with the twist. Keep it lifted and breathe. And then from here, we're going to transition through to either a vinyasa or a downward facing dog. So just watch that you don't shift back and forth. Again, like I was kind of talking about at the beginning of the practice. So here, just walk the back foot in a bit, lift the back knee. Now all that needs to move is the right leg. So try not to shift back and forth. Just press the mat away, lift that leg. You're in your plank pose, either a vinyasa or straight to your downward facing dog. When you're ready, inhale, left leg to the sky. And then exhale, step left foot to the outside of the left hand. Lower the right knee. Spin onto the outer edge of this left foot. Let the thigh drop out to the side. And then here, walk your hands over to the right-hand side of the mat. Breathe into the hips. You might look totally different to me when you do this, so don't worry. As long as you're getting a stretch, maybe inner thigh, outer hips, back thigh. And then come back to center. We take full or half splits. Use blocks if you need to. Under hands, blocks can be a really good idea. So you can always take the blocks and then tilt back. Remember, you can always come into your full splits. Imagine that you're trying to almost like drag the mat back with this left foot. Good, and then coming forwards, and we'll take our pigeon pose. So the foot drops over to the right, knee out to the left. Walk the back leg a little bit further back and soften down when you're ready. Try to remain still just for a couple of breaths. Good stretch after all that strengthening in our little skater squats. So right hand down, left hand takes the back foot as you lift up. Don't worry if you can't take the back foot. Just take your left hand to your left thigh and open through the chest. So you're still getting a bit of a twist. Good, again, think about how you transition. So solid arms, solid shoulders, use your belly. You're just going to move the left leg to move back to a plank, either straight to your down dog or move through a vinyasa. And then once you're there, we're going to come through to seated. So however you want to get to seated is fine. I'm going to use our blocks. If you don't have your blocks, it might just be a little bit harder, but don't worry, you can still give this a go. Hands to the blocks, which are just in front of your hips, so not back here, but just kind of in front. Then what I want you to do is see if you can lift through the hips, maybe lift one leg lower, lift the other leg lower. If you're ready, you come straight up into your L-sit. So hugging those thighs into you, drawing your hip flexors up, drawing the ribs up. So this is good core strengthener and good hip flexor strengthener. So remember, you can just lift one, lift the other, or try both. Once you've had a little go at that, and you're done with it, hands behind you, soles of the feet onto the mat. Let's come into your reverse tabletop. Lift the hips, let the head and neck go, draw the ribs into the body, squeeze the bum. Breathe. One more inhale. And then as you exhale, gently release. Okay, from here, boat pose. Hands to the backs of the thighs, lift through the chest, squeeze the thighs in. Try not to keep the thighs out here, keep them lifted. Some of you might extend the arms. If you extend the legs, keep the thighs close to the body. Try not to lower them quite yet. If you need to, hands go back to the back of the thighs. Lift, lift, lift. Squeeze the inner thighs, flex the feet. Low boat, so hovering off the mat. Just the lower back is down. I want you to think, and kind of the pelvis, I want you to think, pull the tummy in, pull the ribs in for 3. Flex the feet for 2. And for 1, release. Hug the knees in towards the chest, rock from side to side. Take your happy baby. Draw the tailbone down. And we'll come into a twist. So drop the knees over to the right, head over to the left, arms into a wide T. You can always here, if you want to, you can always cross one leg over the other, just your choice here. Start to close the eyes down as we move towards our Shavasana. Come back to center and swap over. So knees over to the left, head over to the right. Again, you can cross one leg over the other if you want to. And then come back to center. Give your knees a little squeeze or final squeeze. Big breath in through the nose. Clear it out through the mouth. Shavasana. So just release the arms, release the legs, palms face up. Take a moment to get comfortable. Find a point of focus, so that might be your breath, it might be any sounds you can hear from outside or inside. Maybe you're listening to some music. So your meditation practice is just purely about finding a sense of focus. And don't worry, if you lose that focus, you just keep returning to whatever it is you're trying to pay attention to. So I want you to feel free here to kind of stay for a little bit longer. Otherwise, just start to wiggle your fingers and your toes. And when you're ready, knees towards your chest. You can roll over onto either side. Come up to a seated position. Eyes closed, hands towards your heart. So with a lighter body and a calmer mind, we'll end the practice with a big breath together. So inhaling through the nose. Big release. Namaste. Thank you all for practicing with me.